Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to replace the rack and pinion bushings on the 99 4Runner, Toyota 4Runner. So we've got, I guess, 3 bushings in this thing. One that goes through around this bolt here, another one that goes with this bolt here, and then one that kind of wraps around the whole thing right there. So I think what I'm going to do first is clean this thing up a little bit. It's got a fair coating of oil. Got a little bit of an oil leak. 293,000, 294,000 miles, something like that. So it seeps a little bit. So let's get almost 300,000 miles of grime off of this thing. Alright, got it cleaned up some. We've got 19mm and 22mm bolts to undo it, 4 to get it out. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see that one. Grimy one right there. So I've got the passenger side supported, so to undo it, it won't flop around. And driver's side should be kind of held in place by the steering shaft right here. I've got the let's see, I'm trying to think. I got the I've got it jacked up. Wheels are off the ground, just barely, but well, I guess I'm going to have to jack it up just a little bit more. That was not off the ground. So I'll do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and get these bolts out. I don't know yet if I will have to undo the sway bars. I'm going to leave them on for right now, and if I have to, I'll undo them. The sway bar mounts. So we get it jacked up a little more, and I'll get these 4 bolts out. Alright, so went ahead and took sway bar partially off. I took these 2 bolts out here, and the same on the other side. These 2, you don't have much room for a ratchet, so my air ratchet made these simple. And then I undid the sway bar end link on the driver's side, and then just left it attached to the passenger side and just pushed the sway bar out of the way. Like I said, I got those 4 bolts out. We've got it attached right here, and it's pretty much out of these. It's out of these hangers, so I can replace this now. This bushing. See, free. I can go ahead and get a C-clamp and push this bushing out. This one stayed attached to the bolt. I don't know if that makes my job easier or harder. Really harder. I'm going to go ahead and do this one first, because it's very stable right now, because it's still kind of in here. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this one while it's stable. And then I'm going to have to pull it out further and get this bushing off this bolt. I may take this bolt off and do it from the back side, I think. Maybe not. I did undo the, let's see, I undid the bolt for the power steering lines. give the lines a little more pull, so I didn't have to disconnect the lines with the rack and pinion. So let me get a C-clamp and we'll push this bushing out. So you could do this with a C-clamp, but I happen to remember I have a 4-wheel drive ball joint press, which is kind of made for pressing stuff out. It's got these different size little, that's the centering piece, and it's got these little collars, hollow steel collars, kind of like sockets, that would go in and you know, you press the bushing. Well, when this was ball joint press, you press the ball joint up into that area, but works good for this stuff too. So I've got this one pressed out, so we'll just have to press the other one back in. Alright, just to show you, see, it's got, where's that? So this part centers on there. This goes over there. See, it pushes the bushing out into that area. So this one is out. Let me clean that up a little bit, and we'll have to put the new one in. Alright, so that one's in. I worked it in by hand and then pushed the bushing in. I had to use a pair of big channel locks just a little bit to kind of push it up. But I didn't even need the C-clamp to get it in there. These new bushings are 2-piece. So the shoulder's on one side, so you put one side on, put the other side on, then put the center sleeve in. So let me pry this out and see if I can get this rubber off of this bolt. Alright, that actually came off a whole lot easier than I thought it would. There's a metal shoulder behind it. So I used my big pry bar to pry the steering rack up over the bolt and out of the way, and then use my little pry bar to get behind this metal shoulder on this thing, and just pried it. It came right off easily. I don't know why. Maybe it was in a bind trying to come off, but it made it easier because I didn't have to press this one out of the rack. I guess this bushing must have been pretty worn for it to come out so easy from the rack. So let me get the new one put in here, and it's also a 2-piece. So you put in one side and then put the other one in from the other side, and put the metal sleeve through. So in this kit there's a washer that's got to go on this stud, and then you can see I've got one side of this bushing already pushed in. The other side, you can see how it's got a shoulder on one side, so you just, that's so hard to do one-handed. Switch hands. Well, I can't do it one-handed, but it goes in there like that. Alright, so it's in there, just with my fingers. And then you just gotta start the bushing in, or the sleeve. And I can't do that one-handed either. So you just start it in there. Make sure you're doing it straight so that it doesn't push the other side out. And you might need some help from a C-clamp or some big channel locks to get it all the way through. Alright, that one's in. Let me clean that one up. All it does, got this half circle little bracket, and here's the old bushing. See, it's got a cut in it. It just slips on like that. slips around it like that, and then the bracket goes over it. Alright, so I've got that bushing in place. I'm going to wait to put the bracket on until I get this one in place. I don't want that stud hanging me up trying to get this one in. And make sure when you do put this one on, you can see this side is a longer piece here, and that one goes down for the stud, and the bolt takes a shorter one. So let me get my pry bar and let's get this bushing started on the bolt here. We got our washer in place. Alright, so we've got our bushing in place. I'm not going to put the bracket in yet because where's our bracket? I don't want it. I want to be trying to worry about lining the bracket up with this stud when I'm trying to get this in. I can get this one in and then put this one in after. And when you put this one on, make sure you can see this piece, this side, this is longer than this side. And the longer one goes on the bottom for the stud, and the bolt up top takes the shorter one. So we go like this. So let me get my pry bar and get this bushing started on the stud here, and we've already got our washer in place. So let me get that done. Alright, it's back on. Gotta tighten up the bolts. Ended up taking the tie rod off because it was in a bind trying to go on this stud.
Driver's side.
Driver's side tie rod. And just need to torque these down. I'll look up the torque specs. Alright, it's back together. So this one torques down to 141 foot-pounds of torque. The one over here, 123 foot-pounds, 123 foot-pounds, 123 foot-pounds. So they're all torqued, and we got our sway bar back on. It's just the two bolts, like I showed you. Went back on like it came off. Like I said, I had undone this tie rod because it had this pinion in a bind really bad, and I was really having trouble getting it on there, and I don't want to risk messing up my bushing with that stud. So I went ahead. This is of course a rust-free vehicle in the South, and so tie rods are easy to get off. So it took about 5 minutes to get the wheel off and get that tie rod off. A few hits right there, and it was off. And so that made it a whole lot easier. The instructions I had read on the internet, well, the instructions that came with the kit said to remove that. I read on the internet, a lot of people were saying you don't have to remove the tie rod. If you think the tie rod's easy to get off, take it off. It's easier with it off. So, like I said, that's off. I mean, that's back on. New cotter key. Don't ever reuse an old one. Got my bracket for my lines back in, and then the bolt back in it. And I'm going to go ahead and retorque the bushing, or the tie rod end link on that side, since I did this side. You can tell that this one, the bushings are squished a little more, so I might as well do the other side just to tighten it up a little bit. It really needs new bushings. They're pretty cracked, but they're still in one piece, so we'll leave them together for now because I don't have any. And just need to put the wheel back on it and put the little skid plate back on it, and we're good to go. And I've double checked all the bolts are tight. So I think that's where we're going to stop this, because this job is complete. And thanks for watching.